The terminal buzzed with voices, announcements, and rolling suitcases. It was just another busy morning at JFK Airport until Jacqueline Wright walked in, dressed in a sleek navy blue pantsuit with calm authority in her stride. Jacqueline wasn't just any passenger. She was the CEO of a fast-growing tech company that had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal in New York. She was headed home to San Francisco on Flight 732, seated in 2A first class. As she approached the gate, her assistant Maya handed her a coffee and gave a soft nod. I double-checked. You're all set. Priority boarding, seat confirmed. Jacqueline smiled. Thanks, Maya. I'll see you back at headquarters. Boarding was smooth. She scanned her digital ticket and walked down the jet bridge, offering a polite smile to the flight attendants at the entrance. But as she reached her row, her brows pulled together. Someone was already in her seat. A tall, middle-aged white man sat comfortably in 2A, flipping through a business magazine as if he owned the plane. His leather shoes were kicked out just far enough to block the aisle slightly. Jacqueline paused and glanced at her boarding pass again. Excuse me, she said, calm but firm. I believe you're in my seat. 2A. The man didn't look up. I doubt it. I've flown this route every month for years. This is my seat. Jacqueline's voice didn't waver. I have a confirmed boarding pass. May I see yours? Now he looked at her. With that look, dismissive, condescending, and just long enough to size her up. You sure you're in the right cabin? He asked with a smirk. Coach is a few rows back. Silence fell in the front cabin. One of the flight attendants, Amy, hurried over. Is everything all right here? She asked, glancing nervously between them. Before Jacqueline could answer, the man spoke again. She's clearly mistaken. People always try to sneak into first class. Amy hesitated. Too long. Jacqueline felt the weight of every stare in that cabin, but she didn't flinch. This isn't a misunderstanding, she said clearly. This is discrimination. Seconds later, everything began to unravel. Amy's face paled. She stammered, Ma'am, can I just take a quick look at your boarding pass? Without hesitation, Jacqueline handed it over. Amy glanced at it, then back at the man in the seat. Her throat bobbed nervously. Sir, it appears she is indeed assigned to seat 2A, the man scoffed. Then move me. I'm not getting up. This is ridiculous. Jacqueline crossed her arms, not out of anger, but principle. You're sitting in my seat. Either you move, or I will escalate this. Amy tried again, more gently this time. Sir, please, if you don't comply, I'll have to notify the captain. Still, he didn't budge. Go ahead, he sneered. Let's see how far this goes. Passengers began whispering, some pulling out their phones. A man in 2C leaned slightly toward Jacqueline. Do you want me to call someone for you? Jacqueline shook her head. Number, I know exactly what to do. She turned and calmly walked back toward the front, where another flight attendant stood. Please inform your captain, she said, that Jacqueline Wright, CEO of Nexora Tech, is being denied her confirmed seat by a disruptive passenger. And if this plane takes off with him in it, I'll make sure every aviation channel in the country hears about it by morning. The attendant blinked. You're the Jacqueline Wright? Yes. And I suggest you act quickly. Within 2 minutes, the captain himself stepped out of the cockpit, his expression tight. What seems to be the problem here? He asked. Amy jumped in, her voice suddenly much more serious. Sir, this passenger refuses to vacate 2A, even though Miss Wright has the confirmed ticket. The captain looked to Jacqueline, then to the man. Sir, I'll ask you once. Get up and take your assigned seat. And if I don't, the man challenged. The captain didn't blink. Then this aircraft will not leave the ground. You could hear a pin drop. The man looked around, suddenly aware of all the phones pointed at him. His arrogance faltered, just slightly. You're really going to delay the flight over this? Jacqueline raised an eyebrow. Number, you are. And then came the words no one expected. Deplane him, the captain ordered. And just like that, the flight stopped. The air inside the cabin thickened. No one moved, no one breathed. It was like time had frozen around the confrontation. The captain didn't flinch. He motioned to the gate agent, who quickly boarded with 2 security officers. The white man's smirk finally slipped into disbelief. You're seriously doing this? He barked. Over her word, the captain stepped closer. Over your behavior. This isn't about her word, it's about your refusal to follow federal aviation rules. You were asked to move. You refused. That's grounds for removal. He stood up abruptly, knocking his magazine to the floor. This is absurd. You're letting politics fly the plane now? One officer stepped forward. Sir, you need to exit the aircraft immediately. He grumbled under his breath, gathered his belongings with jerky movements, and stomped toward the exit, glaring at Jacqueline on his way out. You'll regret this, he hissed. Jacqueline didn't respond. She didn't need to. As he disappeared up the aisle, a hush lingered for a beat until a woman from row 3 clapped. Then another joined in. Applause rippled through the first-class cabin like a slow wave. Someone muttered, "About time." Jacqueline took her seat finally and buckled in. Amy returned with a bottle of water and a fragile smile. We're so sorry for the inconvenience, Ms. Wright. The captain asked me to make sure you're comfortable. Jacqueline nodded. Thank you. Let's just move on. But the situation wasn't over. Back at the gate, the removed passenger was pacing furiously, phone to his ear, barking into it like a man who'd been humiliated and needed revenge. She's not who she says she is, he snapped. Check her. I don't care if she's wearing a $2,000 suit 10 minutes past, then 15. The captain finally returned to the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay. Due to the earlier disruption, we're conducting a brief review before departure. Jacqueline's eyes narrowed. She could feel it. Something else was brewing. Then Amy returned once more, looking tenser than before. Ms. Wright, I hate to say this, but we've just received a call from security. They want to verify your identification. Now. Jacqueline blinked. Excuse me? I'm so sorry, protocol. The insult hit deeper than any stolen seat. Jacqueline's jaw tightened, but she remained composed. She reached into her bag, pulled out her driver's license and corporate ID, and handed them to Amy. You can tell security they're welcome to verify whatever they need. I have nothing to hide. Amy hesitated as she took the IDs. I'll be right back. The murmurs in the cabin began again, passengers exchanging glances. Jacqueline could feel their eyes. Not all curious, some skeptical. It was the same look she'd seen too many times before. How did someone like her end up in first class? Minutes ticked by. Long, drawn-out minutes. When Amy finally returned, her face was red. Security confirmed everything. You're cleared, Ms. Wright. Again, I'm truly sorry. Jacqueline took her IDs back, her voice cool. You didn't doubt him when he said the seat was his, but you needed security to believe me? Amy flinched. It's not personal. It always is. The captain's voice came back over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we've now been cleared for takeoff. Please remain seated and buckle in. The plane rolled away from the gate, but the tension didn't leave. Jacqueline sat silently, staring out the window, remembering every step of her journey to this seat. The late nights building her startup. The rooms where she had to prove twice as much just to be seen. And now, even here at 30,000 feet, she still wasn't allowed to just exist. An hour into the flight, a flight attendant brought her a glass of champagne and a small note from the captain. To Ms. Jacqueline Wright, thank you for your patience and for reminding us all what dignity looks like under pressure. She smiled faintly, folding the note and slipping it into her purse. But the storm wasn't done. Meanwhile, the man who had been removed wasn't letting go. He'd already sent an angry email to a travel blog, claiming reverse discrimination. He described the incident as a black woman abusing corporate power to humiliate a frequent flyer. Worse, the story started gaining traction. Comments exploded online. Jacqueline had no idea that by the time her plane touched down, the internet would already be spinning a different version of the truth. One where she was the villain. By the time Flight 732 landed in San Francisco, Jacqueline's phone was vibrating nonstop. Maya, her assistant, met her at the terminal with a concerned look. You need to see this, she said, holding up her tablet. Jacqueline took one glance at the screen, and her stomach dropped. A blurry photo of her, standing on the plane, arms crossed, had gone viral. The headline screamed, "Entitled CEO has passenger kicked off plane." Was it really about the seat? Another post read, "White man removed for questioning seat assignment? Corporate overreach?" Jacqueline scrolled through the comments. Typical race-baiting power trip. She probably pulled the CEO card just to look important. Reverse racism at its finest. She closed her eyes and breathed in deeply, grounding herself. I was there, Maya. I did nothing wrong. I know, Maya said quietly, but they don't care about facts. They care about clicks. Back at Nexura headquarters, the PR team was already in crisis mode. News outlets were calling. Shareholders were asking questions. Social media was burning. Jacqueline called an emergency meeting. I'm not going to apologize for defending my seat, she said firmly, but I won't stay silent while they rewrite the story either. Her head of PR, a young woman named Leah, nodded. Then we take control. You tell your side. Not in a press release, not with legal jargon. Just you, as you are. Jacqueline hesitated. Vulnerability in the corporate world was rare, risky, but so was silence. Later that evening, seated in front of a simple black backdrop, she began recording. My name is Jacqueline Wright. I'm the CEO of Nexura Tech. And yesterday I was asked to prove I belonged in a seat I already paid for. Her voice didn't shake. This isn't just about a seat on a plane. It's about a pattern, a question I'm forced to answer over and over again. Do you belong here? She ended the video with calm certainty. Yes, I do. Within hours, the video exploded. Celebrities shared it, advocates reposted, hashtags trended, # she belongs, # seat 2A, # Jacqueline Wright. But with visibility came backlash. The man from the flight went live on a news channel, claiming he was the real victim. And then the airline issued a vague statement, neutral, non-committal. Jacqueline stared at it and knew what she had to do next. The following morning, Jacqueline stood on the steps outside Nexura's headquarters. A small crowd of reporters waited, microphones ready, cameras flashing. She wasn't just defending herself anymore. She was standing for everyone who'd ever been made to feel out of place, unseen, or unwelcome. She took a breath, then stepped up to the mic. I didn't ask for this spotlight, but I won't step out of it now that I'm here. Because this isn't just about me. It's about every Black woman who's been questioned, overlooked, or told, directly or indirectly, that she doesn't belong. Her voice echoed with conviction. What happened to me on that flight was not just about a seat. It was about power, perception, and prejudice. She paused, letting her words settle in. I earned that seat, like many others have earned theirs. We don't need to shout to prove we belong, but we will speak when we're denied. The crowd was silent, listening. That afternoon, her speech went viral. Media outlets finally changed their tone. Headlines shifted. Black CEO speaks truth about discrimination at 30,000 feet. Jacqueline Wright. More than just a seat. Major figures in business and entertainment came forward with their own stories. Airlines across the country began revisiting their staff training programs, and conversations sparked in boardrooms that had long ignored such issues. Even the airline that once stood silent issued a formal apology. The man who had started it all. He vanished from the spotlight. The noise around him faded just as quickly as it had surged, because people had seen something stronger, truth backed by dignity. A week later, Jacqueline boarded another flight. Same route, first class, seat 2A. As she approached, a young Black girl sitting nearby looked up at her with wide eyes. Her mother leaned over and whispered something, and the girl gave Jacqueline a small, shy wave. Jacqueline smiled warmly and waved back. This time, no one questioned her. No one blocked her path. She sat down, buckled her belt, and looked out the window, not just at the clouds, but at how far she'd come. Because sometimes, a fight for a single seat becomes a movement that lifts thousands. The end.